Hello logical thinkers, welcome to coding_puzzle YouTube channel. Today I am going to explain this particular program in 3 major steps. Before moving on to the explanation, pause the video for few seconds and then try to guess the output. Okay, let me show you the output. In the right hand side console you are able to see the output, that is 1 and 2 are the output. Okay. This is the 3 steps. The first step is what is pre-increment and what is post-increment. Step 2 is how is it useful and the program explanation. And then the last step is flow of control, that is debugging the application. Let us start with step 1. Post-increment. In the sense I++. If we use the ++ operator after a variable, then it is post-increment. Pre-increment, that is ++i. If we use the ++ operator before a variable, then it is called pre-increment. Now I am going to say you the definition of this particular increment, that is post-increment. I++. Use the current value of I and then increment its value, then it is called post increment. You will understand this particular line when I do the step 2 program explanation. And then pre increment, which is ++i. Increment the value of I and then use it. It is called as pre-increment. These are the 2 major key lines. Remember this particular line. Okay, let us move to the step 2. How is it useful? Let me show you an example. Int I is equal to 0, I++ SOP, that is system.out.println, and then I. We are printing the I value. I am copying this particular program and then pasting it again. Here we are going to do pre-increment. Okay. Now if you see, int I is equal to 0, we are initializing a value for I and then we are doing post-increment, that is we have to use the I value first and then we have to increment it. But if you see in this line, there is nothing to do with I value. We need to just increment it. So the I value will be incremented after the 4th line. In the 5th line, 1 will be printed. Let us come to this particular program. Here the output is 1. For this program, we are initializing the I value to 0 and then we are doing pre-increment, that is we are incrementing the I value and then using it. In 8th line there is nothing to use the I value, we are just incrementing it. Okay, and then in 9th line we are printing the I value. Here the output is 1. Okay, if you see in post increment and then in pre-increment the output is same, that is 1. Then what is the use of post and pre-increment? For this we are going to do a programmatic explanation. Let us come to this particular program. If you see in line number 7, we are initializing the I value to 1. In line number 8, we are calling a method called method1. Here we are doing post increment. What is the definition of post increment? Use the current value of I and then increment its value. So here using the value of I in the sense we have to pass the value of I to this particular value variable before incrementing it. Did you get my point? Use the current value of I in the sense pass the I value to the value variable before incrementing it. So this one will be assigned to I, and then this 1 value will be passed to the value variable. After that, this value will be printed, that is 1 will be printed, and then the control will come to the 9th line. Since we have used the I value, now we are going to increment it. So 1 becomes 2, and then this 2 is getting printed over here. In step 3, I will show you the flow of control. As of now, get a theoretical understanding of post increment. Okay. This is how post increment works. Now let us do pre increment, that is plus I. Now we have assigned the I value to 1, and then here we are doing pre increment. Pre increment in the sense, increment the value of I and then use it. So 1 will become 2, and then this 2 will be passed to value variable. Increment it and then use it. Here use in the sense, we have to pass the I value to the value variable. Here 2 will be printed, and then it will come again to the 9th line. Since already increment has happened, that is pre increment has happened, so here also you will get the value as 2. Let us see. In the console you are able to see, right, 2 and then 2. Okay, this is how pre and post increment works. Then you might ask a question, then why here alone the output is same as 1 1? Because in the 4th line and in the 8th line there is no method call, or there is no area where we are using the I value. We are just doing I plus plus and then plus I. We are not using the I value in any way in the 4th and 8th line. So once the 4th and 8th line got over, in the 5th and 6th line automatically the value will be incremented. So that is the reason here you are able to see both the output as 1. Okay, let us move to the step 3, that is flow of control, debugging the application. Let me change it to I plus plus. Let us debug this particular program. Okay, if you see, the control came to the 7th line. Okay, now the value of I is 1, if you see over here, and then here also the value of I is 1 only, because we have initialized it right. Now the method call happens, so the control came to the line number 3. Now if you mouse over on value, it is 1. Since it is a post increment, as I said earlier, the value will be 1 only. Now this 1 will be printed. If you see, the 1 is getting printed in the console. Now the control will come to the 9th line. Now the value of I is 2. Since it is a post increment, the value is passed and then the increment is happening. So 1 is changed to 2. Now this 2 will be printed in the console. See, 2 is getting printed. Now the program gets terminated. Now let us change this I plus plus to plus I. Now let us debug this program again. As usual, the control came to the line number 7. I is initialized to 1. Now we are doing pre-increment, that is, increment will happen and then the value of I will be passed to value. Now I is 1. Now now the control will go to the 3rd line. So the control came to the 3rd line. I am mouse hovering on value. Now the value is 2 and it will be printed over in the console. Now the control will come to the 9th line. Here the value of I will be 2 only, since already increment has happened. So it is 2 only. This 2 is getting printed over here and the program gets terminated. This is how pre-increment and then post-increment works. Thanks for watching, guys.